This transfer window has been building for weeks, but next month all of it gets decided. Here are 11 transfer battles about to explode. Let's start with the man who wrote his name into World Cup history, Ferran Torres. He came off the bench in the final against Argentina and smashed home the only goal of the game in the 106th minute, breaking Lionel Messi's heart and handing Spain their second world title. That goal changed everything for his club future. Torres had spent large parts of his time at Barcelona as a squad option behind bigger names, but the moment he silenced Argentina, his stock shot through the roof. Barcelona have put him up for sale to avoid a payment clause owed to Manchester City, and now PSG and Liverpool are locked in a straight fight for his signature. Torres scored 21 goals last season, and reports suggest Barca want around €50 million, while PSG's opening offer sits closer to €35 million. Liverpool need firepower after losing their attacking talisman, but insiders like Gianluca Di Marzio believe Torres is leaning toward Paris, where Luis Enrique already knows exactly how to use him. Either way, the World Cup hero won't be a bench player much longer. Speaking of Argentina's heartbreak, Julian Alvarez is at the center of one of the messiest sagas of the summer. After a solid World Cup that still fell short of his usual standards, Alvarez publicly told Atletico Madrid he wants out to fulfill his dream. That dream is Barcelona, not Arsenal, despite the Gunners making repeated approaches. Atletico have already knocked back bids from both Real Madrid and Barcelona, and Alvarez carries a release clause reportedly worth hundreds of millions of euros. Arsenal remain in the mix and have the advantage of a sporting director who once worked at Atletico, but every report out of Spain suggests that if Alvarez gets his way, it's Camp Nou calling. Arsenal have bigger midfield problems to solve first though, starting with Bruno Guimaraes. The Brazilian has directly told Newcastle he wants to leave for the Emirates after Brazil's shock World Cup exit to Norway. Arsenal have already seen a verbal offer worth around €65 million rejected, and Newcastle are furious that no formal contact has followed since. Guimaraes turns 29 in November and has made over 150 Premier League appearances since joining from Lyon, scoring 30 goals from central midfield along the way. Newcastle, already stung by losing Sandro Tonali to Tottenham and Anthony Gordon to Barcelona this summer, are desperate to avoid a third big departure, but their own captain has made his intentions plain. And it's not the only Arsenal story brewing. Vinicius Jr has entered the final year of his Real Madrid contract, with renewal talks stuck over wage demands. Arsenal have reportedly made contact with his camp as a first step, viewing him as a genuine opportunity given the contract impasse, though no club-to-club talks have taken place yet. Vinicius reportedly wants around €30 million a year net, while Madrid have been negotiating closer to €20 million, and talks that once seemed close to agreement have completely stalled since last summer's Club World Cup. Real Madrid don't want to lose their Brazilian star for nothing, so this summer could be their last real chance to cash in if he won't sign. Manchester City, meanwhile, are closing in on a different kind of statement signing. Ayoub Boadi lit up the World Cup for Morocco, winning the vast majority of his tackles and running the show in their quarter-final run. Lille's asking price has hovered between 85 and €100 million, and City have reportedly agreed personal terms with the 18-year-old on a contract through 2031, fending off Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester United, Real Madrid and PSG in the process. Boadi has already made 96 appearances for Lille despite being just 18, and City originally hoped to sign him now while loaning him back to France for another season before shifting to insist on an immediate move. If it goes through, he becomes one of the most expensive teenagers in football history. Bradley Barcola is caught in a similar squeeze. After missing out on Morgan Rogers to Chelsea, Arsenal turned their attention to PSG's World Cup winning forward, only to find Liverpool already there with an official bid worth around €120 million. PSG are reportedly demanding closer to £145 million, using this summer's inflated market as their benchmark. Barcola has rejected a new PSG contract and seems ready to leave, particularly with Kavicha Kvaratskhelia and Desire Du still ahead of him in the pecking order for the biggest matches. But whether Liverpool or Arsenal will actually stretch to meet PSG's demand remains the real question. At the back, Christian Romero looks set for an emotional Tottenham exit. After Spurs strengthened their defence with Jan-Paul van Hecke and Marco Senesi, the Argentine captain became surplus to requirements, especially after reports he tried to skip Tottenham's final day relegation decider to attend a match back home. Inter Milan are now in advanced talks, preparing a loan with an obligation to buy worth around €40 million, even as Tottenham hold out for closer to 50 million. Barcelona have also shown interest, but they need to offload a centre-back of their own before making any real move, leaving Inter firmly in pole position for now. Speaking of Inter's rivals, Real Madrid have shifted their stance entirely on Rodri. City's Ballon d'Or winner was named the best player of the World Cup after captaining Spain to glory, and that alone appears to have convinced Florentino Perez to reverse his previous reluctance. Rodri has reportedly told City he wants to join Madrid, personal terms are said to be agreed, and it's simply a question of fee now, with City wanting around 80 million euros against Madrid's opening offer of 60 million. Rodri turned 30 last month and is still working back from a serious knee injury that had made Madrid hesitant, but his World Cup form erased those doubts almost overnight. With just a year left on his deal after next season, City may have to accept less than they'd like. Barcelona have their eyes on a Spanish World Cup winner too, but this one comes at a bargain price. Aymeric Laporte formed a rock-solid partnership with Pau Cubarsí as Spain conceded just once across the entire tournament, and Barcelona have identified him as the ideal experienced option for their back line. Laporte's release clause at Athletic Bilbao sits at just 15 million euros, a remarkably low fee for a six-time Premier League champion who also has a Champions League and now a World Cup on his resume, though Barcelona's strained relationship with Bilbao over past Nico Williams' dealings could complicate things. And finally, Marcus Rashford's future remains unresolved. Roma, as it turns out, sit at the centre of two sagas rather than one. Manu Kone has become Manchester United's top target for a midfield rebuild, with United reportedly holding concrete conversations with his representatives and currently edging out Arsenal in the race for his signature. Roma value the French international at around 40 million euros, a price United have been hesitant to meet in full. That's where things get interesting, because with Roma operating under strict financial fair play limits, sources suggest a swap deal involving Rashford has been floated as a way to soften United's asking price. Kone only just returned from France's World Cup campaign, so this one is only beginning to take shape. His loan at Barcelona ended without the Catalans triggering their buy option, sending him back to Manchester United with his club career at a genuine crossroads. Rashford has been offered to Roma as they search for attacking reinforcements, while Barcelona are reportedly waiting to see if Rafinha departs before circling back in late August. Napoli have also been mentioned as possible suitors, but Rashford, who scored 14 goals and provided 14 assists during his loan spell, has made it clear his heart still lies with a return to Catalonia over any other option on the table. 10 deals, hundreds of millions on the table, and barely a month left to get them all done. Which transfer are you most desperate to see completed? Drop it in the comments, hit that like button, and subscribe so you don't miss how this all plays out. Catch you in the next one. This video is sponsored by Supply Handlers.